Wicked for Good is now in theaters, had its opening weekend, and it's smashing its own records. It made $150 million in its opening weekend. To put that in context, that means it made more money on its opening weekend than, well, Moana 2 did, I believe. I think it made more money than Moana 2. Actually, which one did it make more money than? So it made, let me get this right. I can't remember. Anyway, it did come in as the second biggest, I should say, opening weekend of the year. The biggest one was 160 something. This one came out at about 150. And so second biggest opening of the year, that's obviously great. But maybe even more importantly for its own kind of comparison is the fact that it far exceeded the opening weekend of the original film. The folks over at Deadline tell us this. They said Universal's Wicked for Good essentially beat itself at the box office. Air the franchise first half, that is last year's Wicked. Wicked for Good opened to $150 million domestic and $226 million around the world, beating the first Wicked's $112.5 million domestic and $164 million global start. Therefore, Wicked for Good beat Wicked in the following records. Biggest global and domestic opening for a movie based on a Broadway show. Then there's some that don't really matter. Biggest opening for Ariana Grande, no big deal. Biggest opening for Cynthia Erivo, no big deal. Biggest opening ever for John M. Chu, no big deal. This is where it gets interesting, though. So biggest first day at the domestic box office for a Broadway musical, biggest domestic previews for a movie based on a Broadway musical, biggest opening ever at the November box office for a movie or musical at 100, that beat out Disney's Moana 2 for 139.7. Second biggest opening of the 2025 domestic box office ahead of Lilo and Stitch that made 146, and only behind Minecraft movie which opened to 162 million. This is an interesting one. The second biggest opening for Universal of all time at the domestic box office, only behind 2015's Jurassic World that made $208 million. That is one worth looking at. Yeah, second biggest of the year, impressive. Biggest opening for a Broadway musical to a movie adaptation, impressive. But to me, the one that really sticks out is that one about Universal. When you consider the history, the legacy, the number of huge films, some all-time classics and everything that have come out of Universal, this $150 million opening represents the second biggest for the studio ever. And that is incredible. What really makes it interesting is the fact that, and you're going to get different opinions on this and that's fine, is that I actually don't think Wicked for Good is all that good. Now, don't get me wrong, I enjoyed the film. I did. It's just that I thought, if you guys saw my review for it, I surprisingly really liked the first Wicked. I am not the target demographic for Wicked at all. Never saw the stage show. It's not normally my cup of tea. So when I saw the first Wicked movie, I was kind of blown away by it. I really was. I thoroughly enjoyed it, thoroughly impressed by it. So I've been really excited about the second one. And if you saw my review, you know that I just thought the first half of Wicked for Good was bad. Like, it's stiff, it's wooden, has no heart, has nothing to say, it's got no soul to it. It just feels very mechanical and by the numbers. Now, the second half of the film, I thought it really picked up. It found its heart, it found its voice. The film gets darker, but that's not why it's got better. Dark doesn't equal better. But it just so happens that when the film started to get darker, in the second half of the film, that's also when it found its soul. You know what I mean? And it got considerably better in the second half. So overall, I like it. I do. But to me, it's not nearly as good as the first one. Still, the popularity, the excitement, the enthusiasm for the first Wicked has directly translated into this huge amount of success for the second one. Now, how big will it actually end up being? Well, we're going to touch on that in a little bit when we get into the overreactions, because we're going to do a segment of overreaction in a little bit. So we'll get into that. So we'll leave that question for later. But listen, in a year that has struggled Particularly some big movies have struggled at the box office. Most movies have struggled at the box office, it seems. It's really good to see a film like this come along, have a $150 million opening. And I just know the audience that I saw it with was pretty excited about it. I'm enthusiastic about seeing it again tonight with people at the Florida movie meetup. So it's going to be interesting to see other people's reactions to it. But anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? Wicked for Good has just shattered a number of records and set some new standards. It made $150 million on its opening weekend, a huge jump over the opening weekend of the first film. It's now the biggest ever for a musical based on a Broadway show, second biggest ever for Universal, second biggest of the year. Is that good enough? Whatever you guys think about it, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.